The council chamber's crystalline walls flickered red as Admiral Kate Zara's 4 eyes scanned the threat display. 7 human vessels. Just 7. The Terran delegation sat motionless at their curved table, fingers steepled, faces blank. Ambassador Chen hadn't moved in 3 minutes. The Galactic Concordat had witnessed humanity's diplomatic restraint for 20 cycles. Today, that restraint felt like a coiled spring. Your refusal is final? Chen's voice cut through the tension. Queen Velshera's voice resonated from the throne platform above, each word precise. The Outer Rim belongs to the Concordat. Human expansion ends at Sector 9. This is law. The human ships hadn't powered weapons. They hadn't moved. They simply waited at the system's edge, silent as tombstones. Kate Zara had commanded fleets for 40 years. She knew the difference between posturing and promise. These ships promised something that made her secondary hearts flutter. Chen stood slowly. His smile was small, almost apologetic. Then, we respectfully withdraw from these proceedings. We'll handle Sector 10 ourselves. There is no Sector 10 to handle, Velshera said. The Kreshtar swarm consumed those systems. Even your warships cannot stand against a planetary-scale hive mind. Ma'am, with respect, hold my beer. Chen pressed his communicator. Captain Rodriguez, you have authorization. Show them what we found. The main display shifted. Not a star chart. Not tactical data. Video feed from 3 weeks ago. A human research vessel drifting through an asteroid field. The crew looked relaxed, almost bored. Then, the rocks moved. Kate Zara's breath caught. Kreshtar. Millions of them, each the size of a transport shuttle, carapaces black as deep space. They swarmed the human ship in seconds. The feed cut. They destroyed an unarmed science vessel, Velshera said softly. You have our sympathies. They tried. Chen's smile widened. Second angle. The display split. The same scene from outside. The Kreshtar engulfed the ship completely, a writhing mass of chitin and rage. Then light. Blinding, impossible light. The entire swarm vaporized in 1.3 seconds. The research vessel emerged unscathed, its hull shimmering. Reactive shielding, someone whispered from the Concordat delegation. No, Chen said. Weaponized quantum tunneling. We've been working on it for 12 years. Turns out the Kreshtar's bioelectric signatures make excellent conductors. Every organism within 0.4 light seconds became a terminal node. The energy cascade was self-sustaining for exactly 1.3 seconds. Just long enough. Kate Zara's claws scraped her chair. You weaponized your own crew? We weaponized physics. Our crew volunteered for the test. They knew the risks. Chen pulled up another display. We've identified 47 Kreshtar hive clusters in Sector 10. Each one is a clear and present danger to Concordat space. We're prepared to neutralize them. You cannot, Velshera began. We can. We will. With or without your permission. The question is whether you want us operating as allies or as a rogue element. Chen's expression never changed. We've been patient. We've followed protocols. We've respected boundaries. But our people are dying in Sector 10. The Kreshtar don't respect your laws. They don't negotiate. They consume. The Queen's primary manipulators clenched. You threaten the Concordat's authority. I'm offering to solve your Kreshtar problem. For free. All we ask is recognition of our territorial claims after we clear the sector. Chen glanced at the display. Those 7 ships out there? Each one carries the same technology. We can sterilize the Kreshtar presence in 36 hours. Or you can send your fleets to do it in 36 months. Assuming they survive the first engagement. Silence. Kate Zara had watched empires rise and fall. She'd seen wars begin over less. But she'd never seen someone turn a massacre into a negotiating position with such casual precision. Velshera's voice dropped to a frequency that vibrated through the floor. You would weaponize your own destruction? We would weaponize anything to protect our people. That's what you don't understand about humanity. Chen leaned forward. We don't just adapt to threats. We absorb them. Study them. Turn them inside out until they work for us. The Kreshtar killed 47 colonists before they hit that research ship. We don't forgive. We don't forget. We engineer solutions. A junior Concordat officer stood, mandibles clicking. This violates 17 protocols regarding weapons testing in neutral space. Regarding unauthorized military action. Regarding threatening established borders. Chen nodded. I've read the protocols. I helped write some of them. But protocols don't mean much to a hive mind that's consumed 3 civilizations. Your people wrote those rules for rational actors. The Kreshtar aren't rational. They're an extinction event waiting to happen. The Queen's throne descended slowly until she stood level with the delegates. Her full height was impressive, nearly 3 meters of scaled grace and controlled power. You test my patience, Ambassador. I respect your authority, Your Majesty. But authority without action is just ceremony. Let us do what we do best. Chen gestured to the display. Let humans be humans. Give us the hard problems. The impossible situations. The threats that make rational beings hesitate. We'll handle them. Then, we'll terraform the wreckage and plant crops. Kate Zara saw it then. Not arrogance. Not recklessness. Certainty. The humans had already decided. This negotiation was courtesy, nothing more. They would move into Sector 10 whether the Concordat approved or not. The question was whether the Queen would adapt to that reality. Velshera studied Chen for a long moment. And if I refuse? If I order my fleets to engage your vessels? Then you'll discover why we brought 7 ships instead of 70. Chen's smile vanished. We didn't come here to start a war, Your Majesty. We came here to prevent one. The Kreshtar expansion accelerates every cycle. In 5 years, they'll reach Concordat core worlds. In 10, they'll threaten Earth. We can stop them now, together. Or we can waste time defending laws while civilizations burn. The Queen's scales rippled, a sign of deep consideration among her people. Her guards tensed, reading her uncertainty. Kate Zara had never seen Velshera uncertain. The realization sent cold through her veins. Admiral, the Queen said quietly. Your assessment? All eyes turned. Kate Zara stood, choosing her words with care. The humans have never lied to this council. They have followed every protocol we've established. Until today. That they break pattern now suggests desperation. Or opportunity. Perhaps both. Which is it, Ambassador Chen? Both, Your Majesty. We're desperate to save lives. And we've found an opportunity to do it decisively. Chen pulled up a final display. This is a Kreshtar hive ship. Notice the bioarchitecture. Notice the energy distribution patterns. Notice how it's identical to the 17 other hive ships currently approaching Concordat colonies at sublight speeds. The chamber erupted in shocked chittering. Velshera raised a manipulator for silence. When were you going to inform us of this? Right now. We detected them 4 days ago. Our analysts give your current defenses a 12% survival probability. With our intervention, that rises to 97%. Chen's expression hardened. We didn't come here to gloat or threaten. We came here because we need each other. You need our weapons. We need your territory. The Kreshtar need to die. The math is simple. Velshera's voice dropped to a whisper that somehow filled the entire chamber. You planned this. The research vessel. The weapon test. The timing of this revelation. We prepared for every contingency. That's what humans do. Chen met her gaze without flinching. War is coming, Your Majesty. The only question is whether we face it together or separately. The Queen's decision would reshape the galaxy. Kate Zara could feel it in the air, in the silence, in the way even the translator systems seemed to hold their breath. Velshera turned to her senior council. 37 species. Hundreds of worlds. Thousands of years of cooperative governance. All of it balanced on a single word. Approved. The chamber erupted. Shouts of protest. Demands for procedure. Velshera raised both primary manipulators, and silence crashed down like a physical force. The human proposal is approved. Sector 10 is hereby designated a military operations zone under joint Human Concordat authority. Admiral Kate Zara will oversee Concordat observation. Ambassador Chen will coordinate tactical deployment. The Kreshtar will be eliminated. She paused, letting the weight settle. And when this is finished, we will discuss humanity's permanent place in Concordat space. Not as petitioners. As equals. Chen's smile returned, genuine this time. Thank you, Your Majesty. You won't regret this. I already do, Velshera said quietly. But regret is preferable to extinction. The human ships began moving before the session officially concluded. Kate Zara watched them accelerate towards Sector 10, their quantum drives leaving ripples in spacetime that her sensors could barely track. 7 ships. Against a threat that had consumed civilizations. She activated her personal comm. Prepare my flagship. I want a front-row seat for this. Her second-in-command's voice crackled back. Admiral, regulations require. Regulations just changed. If the humans are about to show us the future of warfare, I intend to learn from it. She closed the channel and turned to Chen. Ambassador. I request permission to observe the operation. Chen nodded. Permission granted. Fair warning, Admiral. What you're about to see will change how you think about conflict resolution. Humans don't fight wars to win. We fight them to make sure we never have to fight them again. I've studied your history. I know your species' capacity for violence. Then, you know we're also capable of ending it. Decisively. Chen gestured toward the viewport where the human ships had already vanished into FTL. The Kreshtar are about to discover why predators avoid Earth. We're not the strongest species. We're not the fastest. But we're the ones who turn survival into science. Kate Zara's primary heart rate increased. Not from fear. From anticipation. She'd spent her career maintaining peace through superior firepower. The humans maintained peace through superior innovation. The difference was subtle but profound. One question, Ambassador. Why hold my beer? Chen laughed, the first genuine emotion she'd seen from him all session. It's an old Earth expression. Means you're about to do something spectacularly stupid or spectacularly brilliant. Sometimes both. Usually said right before someone attempts the impossible just to prove it can be done. And which is this? Stupid or brilliant? Ask me in 36 hours. Chen's smile faded. But either way, the Kreshtar won't be a problem anymore. The Concordat Council chamber slowly emptied as delegates rushed to prepare for the implications of humanity's new status. Kate Zara remained at the viewport, watching distant stars flicker as FTL wakes disturbed space-time. Velshera appeared beside her, moving with the eerie silence her species perfected. You think they'll succeed? I think they already have, Your Majesty. The battle in Sector 10 is just confirmation. They're dangerous. Yes. But there are dangerous now. Kate Zara turned to face her queen. We've spent centuries building consensus. Creating protocols. Maintaining balance. The humans spent centuries conquering their own planet, destroying it, rebuilding it, and learning from every mistake. They don't think like us. That's what concerns me. That's what will save us. Kate Zara gestured to the empty space where the human fleet had been. The Kreshtar think in terms of consumption. The Concordat thinks in terms of preservation. Humans think in terms of transformation. They don't just survive threats. They domesticate them. Velshera's scales rippled again. Uncertainty or consideration, Kate Zara still couldn't tell. And when they'd domesticated the Kreshtar? What then? Then, we discover whether humanity's greatest strength is their innovation or their restraint. The Admiral headed toward the exit. My flagship leaves in 1 hour. With your permission, I'd like to find out firsthand. Permission granted. And, Admiral? Don't let them destroy everything. We may need the Kreshtar homeworlds for study. Kate Zara's laugh was dry. Your Majesty, I don't think destruction is their goal. Humans don't eliminate threats. They weaponize them. By the time we reach Sector 10, I suspect the Kreshtar will be working for us. That's impossible. So was quantum tunneling weaponization. So was surviving a Kreshtar swarm attack. So was convincing you to break 500 years of protocol in a single session. Kate Zara paused at the doorway. When humans say hold my beer, Your Majesty, they're not asking for permission. They're announcing the impossible is about to become routine. She left the Queen standing alone in the chamber, surrounded by the ghosts of decisions that would reshape galactic civilization. The flagship Velsheric cut through hyperspace at maximum sustainable velocity. Kate Zara stood on the command deck, watching sensor data stream across holographic displays. The human fleet had reached Sector 10 17 minutes ago. Communications had ceased 12 minutes ago. Her crew worked in tense silence. Admiral, we're receiving telemetry from the human vessels. Her communications officer's voice was steady, but his crest feathers were fully extended, a sign of extreme stress. Routing to main display. The hologram shimmered. Sector 10 materialized in perfect detail. 47 Kreshtar hive clusters, each one a swirling mass of bioships and support organisms. Between them, 7 human vessels arranged in a geometric pattern that made no tactical sense. They weren't positioned for attack or defense. They were positioned like nodes in a circuit. What are they doing? Her tactical officer whispered. Creating a network. Kate Zara leaned forward. Each ship is a quantum anchor point. They're turning the entire sector into a weapon. That's insane. The energy requirements alone. The human ships activated simultaneously. Not weapons fire. Not shields. Pure energy release. The quantum tunneling effect didn't target individual Kreshtar organisms. It targeted the fundamental particles that composed them. The hive clusters began to disintegrate. Not explosively. Not violently. They simply stopped being. Molecular bonds severed at the quantum level. Atoms lost cohesion. The Kreshtar ceased to exist as organized matter and became dispersed energy that the human ships immediately captured and converted. They're harvesting them. Kate Zara breathed. They're not destroying the Kreshtar. They're recycling them. The process took 9 minutes. When it ended, Sector 10 was empty except for 7 human vessels and residual energy readings that made her sensors scream warnings. The fleet had eliminated a civilization-ending threat and gained enough raw materials to build a dozen space stations. Her comm crackled. Admiral Kate Zara, this is Captain Rodriguez. Sector 10 is secure. We're beginning resource recovery operations. You're cleared to approach. The Velsheric dropped from hyperspace at the sector's edge. Kate Zara's crew stared at displays showing absolutely nothing where a nightmare had existed minutes before. Send my compliments to Captain Rodriguez. Request permission to dock and tour their operations. Acknowledged, Admiral. Docking Bay 3 is ready for your shuttle. The human ship's interior was smaller than she expected. Efficient. Every surface served multiple purposes. The crew moved with casual precision, monitoring systems that her analysts couldn't fully understand. Rodriguez met her at the airlock, a human female with gray-streaked hair and scars that suggested extensive combat experience. Welcome aboard the Prometheus, Admiral. I assume you want an explanation. I want to understand how 7 ships accomplished what would have required our entire fleet. Rodriguez smiled. We cheated. Instead of fighting the Kreshtar's strengths, we exploited their weaknesses. Their hive mind operates on bioelectric synchronization. That synchronization requires quantum entanglement at the cellular level. We just convinced those entangled particles to disentangle. Permanently. You rewrote the laws of biology. We rewrote the application of physics to biology. The laws stayed the same. Our understanding changed. Rodriguez led her through corridors humming with barely contained power. The Kreshtar evolved perfect coordination. Perfect unity. That unity was their greatest strength and their fatal vulnerability. One quantum cascade and the entire network collapsed. Kate Zara stopped at an observation window. Outside, human ships were already processing the dispersed matter. What will you do with the resources? Build infrastructure. Trading posts. Relay stations. We'll turn Sector 10 from a dead zone into the most connected region in this quadrant. Rodriguez pulled up a holographic projection. Within 6 months, we'll have 30 permanent stations. Within a year, full commercial operations. The Kreshtar tried to consume this space. We're going to civilize it. The Queen expected violence. Destruction. We gave her solutions. Violence is expensive. Destruction is wasteful. Transformation is profitable. Rodriguez's expression hardened. But make no mistake, Admiral. We can be violent when necessary. We can destroy when required. We simply prefer not to waste the resources. Your species frightens the Concordat. Good. Fear is healthy. It keeps people honest. The captain gestured toward the recovered materials flowing into processing bays. We don't want to conquer the galaxy. We want to trade with it. Build with it. Live in it peacefully. But we've learned that peace requires strength. And strength requires the will to use it. Kate Zara's communicator chirped. Queen Velshera's personal frequency. She accepted immediately. Admiral. Report. Your Majesty, the operation is complete. Total Kreshtar elimination in Sector 10. 0 human casualties. They're already beginning infrastructure development. A long pause. Infrastructure. Yes, Your Majesty. Captain Rodriguez projects full commercial operations within standard year. They're converting the sector from a threat zone to a trade hub. Another pause. This is how they fight wars. This is how they fight everything, Your Majesty. Total commitment. Complete transformation. They don't defeat enemies. They make enemies irrelevant. Return to the Concordat immediately. We have much to discuss. The channel closed. Rodriguez had listened without comment. The Queen is reconsidering her decision. The Queen is reconsidering everything. Kate Zara turned from the window. You've proven that humanity can eliminate threats we considered insurmountable. That changes the balance of power in the entire galaxy. We don't want power. We want partnership. The Concordat has wisdom we lack. Cultural understanding. Political frameworks that have maintained peace for centuries. We have innovation and adaptability. Together, we could create something unprecedented. Or destroy everything that exists. That too. Rodriguez's smile was grim. Which is why we need each other. Humans without guidance become dangerous. The Concordat without innovation becomes stagnant. Balance, Admiral. That's what we're offering. Kate Zara considered this. Your Ambassador Chen said war is coming. War is already here. The Kreshtar were just the opening move. There are older threats in deep space. Dangers the Concordat has avoided for generations. They won't stay avoided forever. Rodriguez pulled up a star chart. We've detected 17 anomalies in the past 6 months. Energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Civilizations that vanished without explanation. Something is waking up out there, Admiral. Something that makes the Kreshtar look like a minor infestation. You know this. You have evidence. We have data. Enough to be concerned. Not enough to be certain. That's why we needed the Concordat's cooperation. Your species have been exploring this galaxy for thousands of years. You have historical records we can't access. Together, we might figure out what's coming before it arrives. Kate Zara felt her secondary hearts accelerate. You manipulated the Queen. The Kreshtar threat. The timing. All of it calculated to force her hand. We created an opportunity for mutual benefit. The Kreshtar were a real threat. Our solution was real. Everything else was just timing and presentation. Rodriguez met her gaze steadily. Politics is theater, Admiral. We simply wrote a script that served everyone's interests. And if the Queen had refused? We would have proceeded anyway, and, asked for forgiveness later. But we prefer cooperation. It's more efficient. The shuttle ride back to the Velsheric gave Kate Zara time to process. The humans had entered Concordat space as supplicants. Now they were partners. Soon they might be equals. And after that? She didn't want to consider what came after that. Her crew was silent during the return journey. They'd witnessed something that challenged their understanding of warfare, politics, and power. A single species had reshaped galactic dynamics in less than one day. The Concordat chamber was full when she arrived. Every species represented. Every delegate demanding answers. Velshera sat on her throne, scales rippling continuously, a sign of stress Kate Zara had never seen before. Admiral, the Queen's voice carried easily over the chaos. Your report. Kate Zara stood at the central podium. The human operation was a complete success. Sector 10 is secure. The Kreshtar presence has been eliminated. Infrastructure development is already underway. Casualties? None. The chamber erupted. Shouts of disbelief. Demands for evidence. Velshera raised her manipulators for silence. Explain how this is possible. The humans weaponized physics in ways we haven't considered. They didn't fight the Kreshtar. They made the Kreshtar's existence physically impossible. Quantum decoherence at a cellular level. The entire hive network collapsed simultaneously. A Concordat scientist stood. That would require energy output exceeding. It required exactly the energy output the 7 human ships generated. They've been developing this technology for over a decade. Specifically for Kreshtar elimination. Kate Zara pulled up the sensor data. They knew this threat was coming. They prepared. And when the time came, they executed flawlessly. They planned this. Someone shouted. They manipulated us. They offered us a solution we couldn't create ourselves. Kate Zara countered. Yes, they timed it for maximum political impact. Yes, they used the threat to negotiate better terms. But the threat was real. Their solution worked. And now Sector 10 is available for development instead of being a dead zone. Velshera's voice cut through the noise. What did Captain Rodriguez tell you, Admiral? I want her exact words. Kate Zara chose carefully. She said humans don't want to conquer the galaxy. They want to trade with it. But peace requires strength, and strength requires the will to use it. And you believe her? I believe she meant every word. But I also believe humanity's definition of peace may not align with ours. Kate Zara looked directly at her queen. They don't seek dominance through force. They seek it through indispensability. Make themselves essential to galactic infrastructure. Control the supply lines. Provide the security. Become so integrated that removing them becomes impossible. Economic conquest. Mutual benefit structured to favor their long-term position. It's brilliant. And it's already working. Kate Zara gestured to the star chart. Sector 10 will be the most valuable commercial zone within a year. Human technology. Human stations. Human trade routes. The Concordat will benefit enormously. But humans will control the architecture. Velshera stood. The chamber fell silent. I approved their operation because the alternative was worse. I gave them equal status because they earned it. But I will not surrender Concordat sovereignty to human ambition. She turned to her council. From this moment, all human activities in Concordat space will be monitored. All technology transfers reviewed. All commercial agreements must pass council approval. Humanity will be our partners, but they will respect our authority. Your Majesty, Kate Zara said quietly. They've already moved beyond our authority. The question is whether we adapt to that reality or fight it. I will not bow to a species barely capable of interstellar travel 20 cycles ago. Then, you'll break trying to stand against them. Your Majesty, with respect, the humans have shown us the future. We can join them in shaping it, or we can be shaped by it. There is no third option. The Queen's scales went perfectly still. The entire chamber held its breath. What would you have me do, Admiral? Surrender? Evolve. The same way humanity has forced every other species they've encountered to evolve. Maintain our values. Preserve our culture. But accept that the galaxy has changed. The Concordat ruled through consensus and patience. Humanity rules through innovation and speed. We need both. You asked me to abandon 5 centuries of tradition. I ask you to build on 5 centuries of tradition with tools we didn't have yesterday. The humans offer us their technology, their methods, their solutions to impossible problems. In exchange, they want respect and opportunity. That's not conquest. That's partnership. Velshera descended from her throne until she stood level with Kate Zara. And when they decide partnership isn't enough? When they want control? Then, we'll have had years to study their technology, learn their methods, develop our own solutions. We'll be stronger partners than we are now. Strong enough to remind them that mutual benefit flows both directions. The Queen studied her admiral for a long moment. You've changed, Kate Zara. One day with the humans and you sound like them. I sound like someone who's seen the future and decided to be part of it instead of being run over by it. Kate Zara straightened. Your Majesty, I've commanded fleets for 40 years. I've fought wars, negotiated treaties, maintained peace across 100 systems. And I've never seen anything like what I witnessed today. 7 ships, 9 minutes. Complete transformation of a strategic threat into a resource opportunity. That's not just superior technology. That's a different way of thinking. If we don't learn from it, we'll be left behind. The chamber remained silent. Every delegate waited for the Queen's response. Velshera returned to her throne. The human partnership is approved. All previous restrictions remain in place. But we will establish a joint development council. Human innovation combined with Concordat wisdom. Admiral Kate Zara will command this council. Ambassador Chen will serve as human liaison. She paused. And if humanity oversteps, if they threaten Concordat sovereignty, we will respond with every resource at our disposal. Make sure the ambassador understands this. Yes, Your Majesty. The session ended. Delegates filed out in clusters, already forming alliances and strategies. Kate Zara remained, waiting until the chamber emptied. Velshera gestured her forward. You think I made the wrong choice. I think you made the only choice. But I also think you're underestimating how quickly humans move. By the time we establish the Development Council, they'll have already changed the landscape again. Then, you'll have to move faster. Keep pace. Make sure Concordat interests are protected. The Queen's scales rippled with something that might have been humor. You wanted evolution, Admiral. Now you get to manage it. Kate Zara bowed. I'll do my best, Your Majesty. See that you do. Because if the humans are planning what you suspect, we'll need every advantage we can create. And Kate Zara? The Queen's voice softened. Tell me honestly. Do you trust them? I trust them to be exactly what they are. Innovative. Ambitious. Relentless. As long as our interests align, we'll thrive together. The moment they diverge. She trailed off. The moment they diverge, we'll discover whether your evolution was fast enough. Velshera dismissed her with a gesture. Go. Build your council. Learn their secrets. And remember, partnerships work both ways. They want our territory and resources. We want their technology and methods. Make sure the exchange remains balanced. Kate Zara left the chamber with her mind already planning. Personnel requirements. Technology transfers. Protocol development. The humans would move fast. She'd have to move faster. Her communicator chirped. Ambassador Chen. Admiral. I heard the news. Congratulations on your new position. Thank you, Ambassador. I assume you'll accept the liaison role? Gladly. I look forward to working with you. A pause. And, Admiral? Thank you for speaking up. Not many would have risked the Queen's displeasure. I spoke truth. The Queen values that more than agreement. Still, You helped create something important today. A real partnership. Not just political theater. Chen's voice warmed. My people have a saying. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take. You took a chance on us. We won't forget that. The channel closed. Kate Zara stood in the empty corridor, feeling the weight of what she'd set in motion. The galaxy was changing. Had changed. Would continue changing at a pace that terrified traditional powers. But change created opportunity. And opportunity was humanity's native element. She pulled up the data from Sector 10. The human ships were already building. Station frameworks appeared in real time as processing continued. In 6 months, this dead zone would be alive with commerce. In a year, it would be indispensable. And humanity would be at the center of it all. Kate Zara allowed herself a small smile. The Queen had raised the threat level to maximum when humans said, "Hold my beer." But maximum threat also meant maximum opportunity. The Concordat would adapt. Evolution or extinction, and Kate Zara had no intention of leading her people toward the latter. She headed toward her quarters to begin planning. The real work started now. Building frameworks that could contain human ambition while channeling it toward mutual benefit. Creating oversight that provided security without stifling innovation. Balancing power between species that thought in fundamentally different ways. Impossible? Perhaps. But then, again, 24 hours ago, eliminating the Kreshtar in 9 minutes was impossible. And humans had taught her something vital today. Impossible just meant nobody had figured out how yet. She would figure it out. She had to. Because the alternative was watching humanity reshape the galaxy without Concordat input. And that truly would be maximum threat. Her communicator chirped again. Captain Rodriguez. Admiral, I wanted to thank you personally. Your support made the difference. I supported facts, Captain. Your results spoke for themselves. Still, not everyone would have taken the risk. You put your career on the line for species you barely know. I put my career on the line for the galaxy's future. You're part of that future now. All of us have to adapt. Adaptation is our specialty. Rodriguez paused. The Joint Council. We'll make it work. Give you full access to our technology development. Complete transparency on our operations. Partnership means partnership. And when our interests conflict? Then we negotiate. Compromise. Find solutions that serve everyone. That's how partnerships survive. The captain's voice held genuine warmth. We're not trying to conquer you, Admiral. We're trying to survive with you. There's a difference. I hope you're right, Captain. For all our sakes. The channel closed. Kate Zara stared at the stars beyond her viewport. Somewhere out there, the threats Rodriguez mentioned were moving. Growing. Preparing. The Kreshtar had been just the beginning. But now the galaxy had humanity. With all their innovation, ambition, and absolute refusal to accept impossible as an answer. The Queen had raised the threat to maximum. But she'd also unleash maximum potential. Kate Zara would make sure that potential served everyone. Or die trying. The stars waited. The future approached. And somewhere in Sector 10, humans were already building tomorrow. She smiled. Evolution wasn't comfortable. But it beat extinction. Time to get to work.